Hello, my lovely people out there. All right, another quickie for you, another tips and titty bits. So, today's episode might sound a little bit similar to the episode I did about making new friends in your 30s. There is some overlap, but this episode is a little bit more on the focus of like just getting out and getting out of your comfort zone, pushing yourself, adventuring solo, again, just kind of getting out of that comfort zone. And so that's where the overlap might come from with the like making new friends, because for a lot of us that means getting out of our comfort zone to make new friends, put ourselves out there and whatnot. But I do want to focus more today on like kind of pushing yourself, setting some higher goals for yourself, or challenging goals. So it's not really like a New Year's resolution thing, right? It's March. But I think that throughout the year, it's good to set goals or challenges and just kind of keep yourself on your toes a little bit sometimes. So also, I wanted to mention, like, if you know me, you already know this. If you've been listening for a while, you might be starting to figure this out. If you're new here, you'll learn quickly that I mostly fly by the seat of my pants. Hence these like quick little solo mini-sodes here. And the truth behind these is that they are like last minute. I am trying to plan some out. I'm really proud today because it's Sunday and this will release Tuesday. The last two I've done Tuesday morning and released Tuesday day. Um, and I don't know, I would just work like that. And a lot of business coaches or, big podcasters or something would probably frown upon this and talk about batch recording and this, that, and the other. And that's all good, fine, and great. And I understand it, like I talk a lot about how I go through a lot of like phases of burnout because of the way I kind of have my life structured, where I'm going all in, then I'm burnt out, and I have a phase of like really taking the pedal off, or the foot off the gas, whatever kind of cliche you want to put in there. But I don't know what it is. It's the way my mind works. If I've got the like ambition and everything, motivation, inspiration to do it, then I'm doing it right away. And I guess for batch recording for me, it's like I just haven't been at the point where I want to sit down and feel like I can get 3 or 4 episodes out, whether it's like the long episodes on like just tearing it up, or if it's these short ones. And I think that has a lot to do with maybe my attention span as well. I can focus on one thing or one conversation, and then I kind of move on to the next task. So batch recording is a little bit hard for me. And yeah, the point of these too is like to kind of go with the flow and get some tips, or again, little titty bits out there that just kind of come to mind. So anyway, let's get into it here. Getting out of your comfort zone. So like I said, this could have some overlap with meeting new friends and things like that. But what I mean here is setting up some bigger objectives. So maybe that's in the outdoors. This podcast focuses a lot around the outdoors, hiking, biking, climbing, all sorts of outdoor activities, whatever that is for you. And this is like can be so generalized to anybody. You don't have to be a hiker who goes out and does, 10-mile hikes or something. You don't even have to be striving to do that. This could literally be, one more hike or walk a week, going to the gym, setting just like a goal. And I want to touch on this because again, it's been something that's been on my mind because I have a lot of things I want to do, some bigger goals, and time just fucking flies that you're like, oh man, I wanted to do that and I didn't set aside the time. Obviously, we're all busy, have a million things to do. This stage in life for a lot of us is just absolutely crazy. The world is crazy, so that takes a mental toll on us and could like make us put some things on the back burner. But I'm quite tired of not putting myself first and letting these other things get in the way. So I want to set some bigger goals for myself and carve out the time to work towards them. So I'd rather do that than like batch record an episode. Again, I fly by the seat of my pants. So for me, it just kind of works out. If I got an hour this day or that day to throw in a meeting and I'm running around everywhere and scatterbrained, and I'm sure that doesn't help myself diagnosed like ADD, but That is also the chaos in which my brain works and seems to function on. So I think that today, really, what we're going to get into is kind of thinking about some challenges or goals you can set for yourself that get you outside of your comfort zone. I think we may have touched on this before in a podcast, and it's something I read somewhere that really like resonated and clicked with me is that like a goal, if it's easy to reach, it's not really much of a goal, right? It's kind of just like a check mark off the to-do list. But a goal that provides some challenge and is hard to achieve, like, and that also that creates more satisfaction, I guess, when you complete it. And that also helps you stick to it. If you write down a goal that's like you pretty much do that already anyways, like you're not really going to stay on track with it. For most people, that is. Something that challenges you can keep your interest a little bit more, thus have that like self-accountability factor that helps you reach that goal. Some of these for you, it could be like just solo adventures, getting out alone. Because again, unlike like, yes, I want to make more friends. I want to get out there. I want to do more things with more people because I've been doing a lot of things solo. There is still for me a time and a place to do solo adventures, especially because it can just be plain hard to match schedules with somebody. So maybe for you, like just getting out by yourself is more of a challenge than getting out with new people. And of course, some of you may be concerned about getting out solo for safety reasons and things like that. So that is something I will touch on too. Some little tips on like what or how I guess you can prepare for solo adventures. But overall, again, I think that it's the middle of the month. And if you're one of those people who it works for you to start something new on a Monday or on the first of the month, then wait until April and give yourself some time, a couple weeks, to think about these bigger goals. If you're the type of person who it doesn't matter, you can start on a Tuesday afternoon, then do it. Start then. No matter when you want to start, I think the first step, important thing is thinking about what it is what goal or challenge you want to set for yourself. Is this kind of mileage challenge? Is it just getting out more often? Is it going out alone? Because from there, we frame how we're going to achieve this. So take some time, set it aside, write shit down if that's what works for you. Go on a walk or a hike and think about it. Like, set some objectives. And then we start breaking down how you can reach that goal. Also, a theme that we've been talking about is like not letting fear lead us. And a lot of times, that's what stops us from going after a bigger goal or challenge is the fear of failing. There's also a little saying that you may have seen around somewhere that I really like. I feel like someone I know actually used to have this Instagram handle, but like called failing forward, because again, we tend to learn more from our failures than our successes. We learn like what not to do or what to change, or just personal growth, mental growth, physical growth from like trying and then failing. So reframing your mind of that question of like, what if I fail at this? What if I'm not good at it? Like, well, think about the opposite. What if this totally changes everything? What if this is the catalyst to opening new doors, new opportunities, discovering a part of myself that I didn't know existed or that maybe was lost for a little bit? These things, our mindset just gets in our way so much. I've said this a million times on the podcast, or like, the things that I say and put out there are usually from personal experience or feelings. So I have been where you're at. These are things I struggle with and have to remind myself of every day, which is why I put it out there. This is another form of me reminding myself to reframe that question from what if I fail to what if I grow. So, like I said, I'm right there with you. I am not on a pedestal. I do not think I'm like this big, influencer advice giver or anything. But I know if it's something I need to hear, then someone else out there needs to hear it too. You know how they say if you write something down, that's just another way to remember something. And a lot of us, and I'm one of those people that if I prefer to write things down. I've got post-it notes. I've got, to-do lists, whiteboards, all these things, because writing things down just feels so good for me and helps me really remember things better. Well, podcasting has kind of become that for me too. Getting it out into the world, into the universe helps me internalize it as well. So as much as I'm talking to you out there, whoever this resonates with, I am talking to myself too. I just wanted to let you know that if this question is in your head, you're not alone. It's in my head like every fucking day. At the gym, simply when I want to push myself and try for a new PR, I get scared, right? Do I add 5 more pounds? Like, what if I fail it? What if I fail that? And I could have done it at that lesser weight, but that lesser weight wasn't really much of a challenge. Well, if I go for that lesser weight, then like, I actually kind of wonder, like, the what ifs come into question. But if I just go for that heavier weight, the what if isn't there. I know, yeah, that I either did it, can do it, or like, whoops, not there yet. Let's keep working towards it. But again, when I don't push myself to those real challenges, I have more of a question in my mind. So think about that too. Like the what ifs. Are the what ifs going to be there? If you don't do something, are you going to question and wonder, shoot, wish I would have tried that, wish I would have done that? Is that regret and what if in your mind? Then that could be a telltale sign too of like, go for it. Do it. And you can do it. Another thing I struggle with greatly is being a beginner. This is something that it's again so tough. I've talked about it here, and it honestly has created contention in my relationship when it comes to a certain outdoor activity that me and my boyfriend love to do, that he got me into, and it's like the number one outdoor activity he does. And I have come to love it, so I want to have that thing that we share together. But because we're on completely different levels of it, it's hard for us to go out, especially when it's dependent on the weather. And we've had a pretty shitty winter. So when it's good, like he wants to go enjoy the goods at the level that he can, and not, sacrifice time and whatever. You all can have your own opinions on that and how what you think a relationship should be or whatnot. I totally understand. Is it frustrating at times? Yes, but I don't want to take away something from him for me to have it. We will figure things out. But anyways, the bigger point here is that I don't handle situations that I'm a beginner in well. So I'm really hard on myself. I get frustrated out there. And it can suck the fucking fun out of things. That attitude and energy affects other people and it makes it hard. And, this is why also a lot of people say learning things from your significant other can be quite difficult. A lot of people have these issues. They don't learn well from their partner. And I think it's because of my reasons here, my feelings is like when he's around, I take out those feelings and those emotions on him. He's my safe space. I know that I can like let my crying out to him. But if it was a friend, I can hold all that in. I can breathe. I can pretend, things are okay and I can just shove them down and like get through it. But with him, I don't. I let it all go. I release it. And that's not fair at all. That's not fair for him. But it's also something I want to work on because I don't want to be in those negative headspaces. I want to be able to have the fun experience and just know that, hey, it's okay. Everyone went through it. Like, take the fucking pressure off. And again, it's something really hard as an athlete growing up, being good at the sports. I was like, again, not an all-star or anything like that, but I was a decent athlete, all right? And I started a lot of the sports that I played early on. And so at the same age as many people did. So being a beginner in athletics and sports and things like that is kind of a newer feeling to me in regards to like my entire life, right? Like I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot what this is like. And I was used to doing it with everyone, like kind of growing together as a team. Then as an adult, you're out doing these activities or sports with people who've been doing them a long time. And you're like, wow, we're vastly different, right? So again, the beginner mindset, embracing the beginner mindset, really a struggle for me. But it is something again that you gotta do, especially if one of your goals or challenges is trying something new. And recently, I was the moderator for a panel, and I asked the women on the panel to kind of give like a word or like what was their piece of advice for people who wanted to get into the career the panel was on, like which was search and rescue or ski patrol. So I wanted this panelist to tell the audience, like, if you want to do this, this is something that like a mindset you really need to kind of to have. Um, and one of the gals said, like, embrace the suck because you just go through hard times. It's part of the job. You need to be able to embrace the suck. Know that shit's going to happen, but like, you can get through it. And everything that all of the women's answers were more like life lessons. And that's definitely one of them. Peaks and valleys, right? Another cliche saying here on the Tearing It Up podcast. Because, hey, again, outdoorsy focused and we're climbing peaks all the time and going through the valleys. But it is true. It's something we have to keep in mind throughout life is like embrace the suck, and embrace the suck very much is embracing that beginner mindset that being a beginner can just flat out suck. Again, know that you will get through it, but you just have to keep pushing through it. And some things take longer to get through that than others. And especially if it's an activity like for me, snowmobiling, where there's so many variables on getting out there that it can be hard to get better at because you might go out few and far between. This was also like surfing for me, which I do every like few years. So I'm not getting better at it, but for some reason I don't have that same pressure like surfing as I put on myself for like snowmobiling. But again, mindset. So reframing our minds, or yeah, reframing that question from what if I fail to what if I grow, embracing the beginner mindset, knowing that failing, falling, looking dumb like is part of it, and everyone who's done whatever you're doing has been there. We all just learn at different speeds. I'll give you an example. I have loaded the snowmobile on the sled deck several times. Again, few and far between. A couple weeks ago, did it perfectly without a flaw. Andrew wasn't there. Just perfect. This weekend when I went out, I gave her a little too much gas and like launched it onto the sled deck, like in the whole parking lot. I even got a message from a guy who's like, I saw you launch that sled on the deck. Was at first I wasn't embarrassed because I thought it was all our friends who saw it, and I'm like, whatever, because they know where I'm at, like, and they know I've done it before. Like, yeah, so it's just kind of more of a funny thing. But then when I kind of really realized how many people saw it, I was like, oh man, I'm so fucking like embarrassed. But Andrew, is like, he was super fucking pissed at first, to be honest, because well, his truck and things, and it could have been bad, but I didn't think it was that bad. But anyways, he calmed down, like it was fine, and I straight up told him like, I kind of need to hear from you like that it's okay, because like I'm gonna feel really bad and scared to do this again if I'm not getting that affirmation confirmation like from you that it's okay. People like you gotta learn. And like, yeah, now right? Like he's like, well, you've done it. I I don't know why you didn't hit the brake. You do every other time. Short backstory is there was a ranger in the parking lot checking registration, which we had. So I don't know why he was kind of freaking out anyways and putting this pressure on me, like, let's load the sleds and get out of here. So like, because we were totally fine. And anyways, back to the point of like the embarrassment. So many people I don't know watched me, and I'm like, God, they're talking about it to their friends. Like, oh, did you see that chick like launch that sled? Makes me feel like imposter almost, because I have this newer sled that's a turbo and just makes me feel like I shouldn't be doing this. And I feel like one of those people, like a poser, who's has all this shit, looks the part, but can't fucking, isn't good at it. Luckily that all happened today, Sunday. The incident happened yesterday, but so the feelings of like embarrassment kind of happened today. And it's like those memes that are out there, like all of a sudden when you realize 7 years ago this dumb thing you said and you have this anxiety about it. So it'll be fine. And again, then Andrew told me a story about a friend who did it and like bent the rail on his sled deck, and he was a snowmobile. Like, yeah, people do it. This is how you learn. So just remembering that is in the beginning, most likely everyone's been there. So you're gonna go through those times, and when you look back down the line, like, oh God, I remember, when I couldn't do this or couldn't do that, and now it all feels so easy and blah blah blah. And with that, to kind of top this off the mindset convo of this section is taking the tiny wins. And that can be like recapping your day. So with that last example, I guess for me, I'm gonna say like I got the sled on the sled deck, and it wasn't I didn't overshoot it, like, as bad as it could've. Hey, it landed up there, we're all good, everything's fine, nothing's broken, everyone's safe. So tiny win. Tiny win, and I learned something from it. So maybe that is even just checking off something closer to your goal, right? You got a goal, let's just stick with a 10-mile hike or something, and you're out working towards that. You finished your first 3-mile hike. That's a win. You're getting there. Like, you, I don't know, learned how to tie a knot and like you're wanting to learn how to rock climb or something. You got to tie knots and know your knots to be out there and sport climb. So again, these little wins can just give you that, I don't know, serotonin or something, that happy emotion that helps you keep going, knowing you're getting somewhere. So whether it's with the people that you went out there with or if you're going solo, just try to do a debrief of your day and look back at the good things that happened and that have got given you that tiny little step forward, no matter like how small it is. So hopefully you can come up with something that you want to challenge yourself with. Again, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Like I said, this is for anybody out there with any kind of goal. You don't have to have these crazy audacious goals because, again, your idea of a big goal is going to be much different from my idea of a big goal. It doesn't fucking matter what it looks like to someone else. It matters to what it looks like to you. So, and this could even be business related. Like, doesn't have to be an active thing, a gym thing, an outdoor activity. Um, Business, school related, something like that. I want to get an A on this next test. I want to, take a little step in starting my own business. So I've created an Instagram or a website or whatever. Just start talking about it. Anything. Again, little things. But whatever this challenge is, whatever this goal is, learning a new skill, trying a harder trail, getting out on your own, make sure it kind of scares you a bit. If it comes into your mind and you're instantly like, oh, no, too much. Well, my friends, that might be the goal then, or the challenge, however you want to look at it. If it gives you a little inkling of like fear, I think that you're on the right track of finding something that's challenging you, whether it's physically, mentally, or both. So once you figure that out, we start going down the list of prepping. Your logistics, like, do we need some training, studying? Do you need some gear to safely do this? But we start making lists, and then we start doing the thing. So to keep this short and on theme with tips and titty bits, I'm gonna wrap it up there. I do, of course, always want your feedback. I would love to hear some of your goals out there and what you're working towards. This can, anonymous. I can share them, whatever it is. But it always helps, I think, to get it out there and to share it because, again, that level of accountability. So get out there, do the thing, and keep staying tuned because I will start diving into maybe some little tips to get out there and reach these goals, like maybe a full little little episode on gear and tips to get out on a solo adventure, if that's something for some of you. So just remember that every time you're out there pushing your limits, you're becoming more resilient and self-sufficient. So these things can carry you throughout life, not just in that one activity you're doing, right? We can take almost any lesson we learn into more parts of our life and apply them there. So dig deep and go scare yourself a little bit. Talk to you next week. Bye.